back to a little bit of my closet. I sell secondhand clothing and goods for a living, and there are a few considerations when picking up what I'm going to be selling. But one of the biggest considerations is how quickly is it going to sell. I'm not in the business of housing clothes, so I want to get things sold as quickly as I can so I don't have to keep them in my house, and so I can make my money back as quickly as possible. So today I'm going to be showing you some things that have been selling for me really quickly, what they are, what brand they are, and how much they've been selling for. If you're new here, hello, my name is Lily and I sell secondhand goods and clothing for a living, and I absolutely love my job. I sell on Instagram, my website, Poshmark, eBay, and I have an antique booth where I sell hard goods. Today I'm going to be going through my last 3 thrift hauls that I've posted here on this channel. Those 3 thrift hauls have been posted within the last 6 weeks. So I'm going to show you from the first thrift haul what sold in the last 6 weeks, the second what sold in the last 3 weeks, and then the third thrift haul what sold in the last 6 days for me as a reseller. I'll also go into details about what size these items were, what brand they were, what style they were, and how quickly they sold on what platform. There are a few things to keep in mind throughout this video. Higher end items typically take longer to sell. So a lot of the items I bought hoping to make more money on them have not sold yet because they're going to take longer to find the right buyer. So for instance, I have a Love Shack fancy dress, a Juicy Couture jumpsuit, and several other items I plan to sell for $150+. Those items haven't sold yet because they are really looking for the right buyer for that higher number, whereas other items that sell for $20 to $50 can typically move faster for me. One more thing to consider is that I sell on Instagram to a very specific audience. On Instagram, I'm not showing items that are looking for the exact right buyer, but more so just items that anyone could purchase at any point in time. So I pick up a lot of more trendy items, boutique items, mall brand items that can move quickly for me that more people are looking for. So just because they sold well for me on Instagram doesn't necessarily mean they'll sell well for you on Poshmark or eBay, but they might do well for you on other platforms or for a lower price point. So for instance, I sold brands like Aerie, boutique brands. All of those sell better for me more quickly on Instagram than they do for me on Poshmark and eBay, but it's definitely worth experimenting. Also, I hope that you like the cozy vibe today. I'm working at home in my pajamas all day long, and this is my living room, so welcome to a new area of my house. I usually have one really cozy work from home day a week. Today is one of those days, so hopefully you enjoy the pajamas and my change of scenery. And I just made my second coffee of the day. Honestly, that is one of the best parts of being able to work from home and work for myself, is that I can look like this whenever I work from home some days. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with my very first thrift haul that I ever posted on this channel. Actually, my first video I ever posted on this channel, which was on January 5th, 2024. I'm filming this on February 15th. That week, I purchased 49 items, and so let's go ahead and go through those items and see what has already sold and for how much. The first item to sell from this thrift haul is this Anthropologie midi dress. I'll post all the pictures over here. It was a size extra small and it sold for $70. The second item from that thrift haul that sold are these Mother Superior high-waisted Rider Skimp Cowboys Don't Cry straight leg jeans. They were a brand new style and they sold overnight, so I listed them by 8 o'clock at night. They sold before the next morning and they sold for $100. And they sold on Poshmark. The next thing to sell from this haul are these Lululemon reflective cuffed jogger full-length studio hustle pants. They were similar to the dance studio pant, which is why I picked them up. They were a size 6 and they sold for $40 on eBay within a few days. The next thing to sell was this Ted Baker mini dress. It was the Tory lavender dress and it sold for $35 on Poshmark. And it was a size 2. Next is this Natural Life maxi dress. It was the Charlotte floral maxi dress and it was a size medium and it sold on Poshmark for $30. The next sale was these Athleta leggings. They were the Athleta Elation crossover ribbed high-rise 7/8 length tight. They were a size small and they were new with tags and they sold for $43 on eBay. Next up we have these J. Crew espadrilles. They were the Pillar Block cap toe espadrilles by J. Crew. They were a size 6.5 and they sold for $20 on Poshmark. The next sale is this Mother tee. It was the Goody Goody tee with the OK graphic and it sold for $30 on Poshmark and it was a size medium. Now onto my Instagram sales from this haul. First up we have these Bum Equipment overalls. They were thrifted, my dog is walking by, sorry. Y2K Bum Equipment baggy overall shorts. They were a size medium to large and they sold for $35 including shipping on Instagram. Next up we have this J. Crew Factory mini dress. It was a size small and it sold for $45 including shipping. Next on Instagram we have this Parade mini slip dress. It was a size extra large and it sold for $32 including shipping. Next, I listed this one on Instagram, I didn't sell, and then I listed it on Poshmark, and it sold on Poshmark for $30. It was this boutique maxi dress. It was by Idem Ditto, or Adim Ditto. It sold for $30 pretty quickly on Poshmark, and it was a size medium. Back to Instagram, I sold this Loft ice cream sweater for $32. It was a size extra small, but it was an oversized fit, and it sold for $32 including shipping on Instagram. Next was this Kansas State vintage embroidered sweatshirt. It was a size extra large, and it sold for $30 including shipping. Next I had this vintage Wrangler vest. It was like a Carhartt kind of style vest. It was a size men's large and it sold for $35 including shipping. Continuing on, we have this vintage houndstooth sweater cardigan. A lot of these button front cardigans and sweaters are doing really well for me right now. This one was dead stock, so it was new with the original tags, and it was a size medium, but it fit like a small, and it sold for $32 including shipping. Next up on Instagram, I had this vintage golf sweater. It was a size large, and it sold for $32 including shipping. Next up, I had this Valentine's Day sweater. It did not sell originally on my story sale, but someone came back and purchased it after the fact. It was a size 1X, and it was a vintage, and it sold for $28 including shipping. Next, I had this J. Crew button-down shirt. It was a cotton poplin top, and it was a 2023 style. It was a size 14, and I sold it for $32 including shipping. Next was this cabbie sweater. I listed it on Instagram and it did not sell, so I listed it on Poshmark, and it sold for $15 on Poshmark. Back to Instagram, I had this J. Crew button front sweater, another one of those cardigan sweaters. It was a size small, and it sold for $28 including shipping. Next, I have this Mickey Mouse long sleeve turtleneck top. It was vintage and it was Disney branded. It was a size medium, and it sold for $28 including shipping on Instagram. Next, I had this vintage bow sweater. It was a 1980s sweater with a big bow graphic on it. It was a size large, and it sold for $32 including shipping. On that one, it had a stain. I could have gotten more if it didn't have a stain. Next, I have this vintage flag sweater. It was a size extra large, and it sold for $35 including shipping. And then last but not least on this haul, I have these Converse. They were the Converse CTA's platform lugged sole winter high-rise Gore-Tex sneakers. They also are referred to as boots sometimes on their website. They were size 8 and they sold for $75 on Poshmark. And then in this haul, I also had 2 sweaters that I included in a style bundle. So those did not sell directly after this, but I sent them in the style bundle, so they were prepaid for. So I'm going to consider those as sold as well. And my average sales price on style bundles ends up being $20 an item because they pay $200 for 10 items. So I'm going to count those for $20 each. Okay, I just did some quick math and factored how much I've made so far off this haul. I thrifted 49 items in this haul, and I've already sold 28 of them between Poshmark, eBay, Instagram, my website, and style bundles. I paid $357 for this haul, and before any kind of fees or shipping fees, I've made $984 so far just on things in this haul. If I estimate that my fees are about 20%, they're usually a little bit lower because my shipping fees and eBay fees bring the cost down, but that would mean that I have made $787 on this haul, so I've profited over $330 so far just on things that I've sold within the last 6 weeks. I still have over 20 items to sell, and of those 20 items that I have not sold, most of them are my higher price points, over $100. So that should really bring my sales up from this haul, but overall within 6 weeks, I'm very happy with that return. And again, like I said, that was not the only time that I thrifted even that week. I thrifted multiple times every week, but that's just the haul that I had from that week to post. Now we're going to move on to my second thrift haul from this channel, which is from January 26th. That was about 3 weeks ago. In that haul, I purchased 48 items for $262. And now let's get into what has already sold. My first sale from this haul was these cabbie jeans. They were a size 8 and they were the Malibu distressed jeans, and they sold for $30 on Poshmark. Next up, I have these mother jeans. They were a skinny jean. They were the Looker jean in Holy Smokes. They were a size 26 and they sold for $35 on Poshmark. Next up, probably my fastest sale possibly ever, were these Lululemon men's joggers. They're the Luxtreme Fundamental joggers in nautical navy. They were a size men's medium and they sold for $40. I literally listed them, and before I could even hit the notifications to refresh, I already had an offer for $40 on them. Next, I have these Athleta pants. They're the Athleta Stellar Crop High-Rise Navy Trouser. They were a size 6 and they sold for $39.99 on eBay. And then onto my Instagram pile. First up, I have this Madewell mini dress, and it sold for $48 including shipping on Instagram, and it was a size medium. Next, I have this boutique romper. It was like a sweater kind of material. It did not have a brand, but it was sold on a bunch of different boutique websites. It was a size large and it sold for $30 including shipping on Instagram. Next on Instagram, I have these Dickies pants. They were sold at Urban Outfitters. They were a size 8 and they sold for $38 including shipping. Next, I have these new with tags Gap jeans. They were the high-rise wide leg raw hem jeans in a pink denim material. They were new with tags and they were a size 2 or 26 and they sold for $35 including shipping on Instagram. Next up, I have these vintage baggy overalls. They were just a Bill Blass overalls, so did not pick them up for the brand, but just the style. They were a size extra large, and I sold them for $40 including shipping on Instagram. Next, I have this vintage homemade sweater vest. It was a size extra large and it sold for $30, including shipping on Instagram. Next, I have another homemade piece. This is a vintage blue oversized homemade cardigan. It was a size large and it sold for $35, including shipping on Instagram. Next up was this Free People sweater. I listed it on Instagram for $48. It did not sell the first day, so on the second day I always do $5 off. So it ended up selling for $43 on Instagram. It was the rib knit collared oversized sweater. I don't know the exact name. It was a 2023 style and it was a size large. Next I have another vintage cardigan. This one was a really fun print. It was just a vintage chunky oversized cardigan and it was a size large. And I sold it for $35, including shipping. Next, I have another vintage sweater vest. This one was a size medium, and it sold for $30, including shipping. Next was another vintage piece. It was this Michael Simon vintage fuzzy cardigan. It reminded me a lot of the Harry Styles kind of sweater that he always wears. And it sold for $38, including shipping, and it was a size small. Next, I have this Torrid blazer. It was new with tags, and it was the black Ponte knit blazer. It was a size 4X. I listed it on Poshmark. I listed it on Instagram for $40, including shipping. It sold the next day for $35. Next was this vintage pastel knit cardigan. It was a size medium and it sold for $32, including shipping. And then we have this J. Crew long sleeve floral top. It was a size medium and I sold it for $32, including shipping. So in this haul, I purchased 48 items and I've already sold 18 of those 48 items. I initially spent $262 and I've made gross $645, or about net $516. So I've already doubled my money and I've only sold 18 of the 48 items. Per usual, the expensive items have not sold through yet. So I still have the Juicy Couture tracksuit, the Anthropologie new tags dress, and some other items I know will sell for over $50 to $100. And lastly, let's look at my thrift haul from literally 1 week ago. A lot of these items I just finished listing a couple of days ago, so things that have sold are really selling quickly. For this thrift haul, I purchased 72 items and spent $432, and let's see what is already sold and for how much. First up, our very first item from the haul was this Patagonia fleece vest. It was the deep pile fleece vest, which I guess ended up being a kind of rare vest from Patagonia. And it sold for $60, including shipping on Poshmark within a couple of days, and it was a size large. Next, the second item from the haul actually was this Hill House dress. It was the Ellie Nap dress, and the pattern was pretty rare. It was the navy tartan plaid pattern. It was a size small, and it sold for $89 on Instagram. Next up, continuing right along in order somehow, was this Abercrombie dress. It was the V-neck puff sleeve midi dress in a size extra small, and it sold for $60, including shipping on Instagram. I cannot believe that we were still going in order like this. That was actually crazy. The next up is this J. Crew blazer. It was a tweed park blazer by J. Crew. It was a size 4 and it sold for $99 on my website. And then again, we have another J. Crew park blazer. This one was new with tags and it was a size 8 and it sold for $75 on Instagram. Next up, we have this denim boutique jumpsuit. The brand was Flying Tomato Denim, but it's just a boutique brand. It was a size small and it sold for $40, including shipping on my Instagram. Next were these vintage cargo jeans. They were just a vintage high-rise straight cargo jean, no specific brand. They were a size 2 and they sold for $35, including shipping on Instagram. Next, this was actually my quickest sale on Instagram last week. It was this vintage bear sweatshirt and it had like a mock neck underneath. It was a size large to extra large and it sold for $35, including shipping on Instagram. Next was this vintage OU starter sweatshirt. I ended up putting this in my antique booth because we were having a sale last weekend. I listed it for $25, but our booth was 25% off, so I sold it for $17.50-ish in my antique booth. Next, I have this boutique sweater dress. It was a chunky cable knit long sleeve sweater dress, and it was a size large, and I sold it for $38, including shipping on Instagram. Next up, I had this vintage houndstooth blazer. It was not any specific brand, but it was just a wool oversized blazer. It was a size 8 petite, and I sold it for $30, including shipping on Instagram. Next was this vintage homemade sweater. Any kind of handmade sweater does really well for me. It was a size extra large and it sold for $35, including shipping on Instagram. Next, probably my favorite find from the thrift haul was this vintage Pendleton 2-piece vest and trouser set. It fit a modern size 4 to 6. If it would have been my size, I probably would have kept it. But it sold for $58, including shipping on Instagram. Next was this Olivia Rodrigo Sour Tour hoodie. It was a size medium and it sold for $30 on Instagram. Next, I have this airy sweatshirt. It was a turtleneck maroon sweatshirt. It was a size extra large and it sold for $30, including shipping on Instagram. Next, I have this vintage Harold's midi skirt. It was a floral midi skirt by the brand Harold's and it was a size small and it sold for $28, including shipping on Instagram. And then another midi skirt. This one was just a boutique brand. It was a size medium and it sold for $25 including shipping on Instagram. Next up, I have this purple J. Crew sweater. It was a balloon sleeve sweater with a crew neck. It was a size medium and it sold for $38 including shipping on Instagram. Next up was a new to me brand. It was this Cotopaxi coat. It was specifically the Kusa Hybrid Pepper Hooded Jacket. It was a size large and sold for $40 on Poshmark and it sold almost immediately. Next up were these Everlane pants. They were the wide leg cropped sweatpants in a size small and they sold for $35 including shipping on Instagram. Next up is this Levi's Peter Pan collar top. I picked this one based on style, not based on brand, so the Peter Pan collar is why I grabbed it. It was a size 1X and it sold for $30 including shipping on Instagram. Next, back to Poshmark, I have these Athleta trousers. They are the Stellar Flare mid-rise trousers in a size 6 and they sold for $30 on Poshmark. Next, I have another Abercrombie piece. This was an Abercrombie midi dress, specifically the O-ring cutout puff sleeve midi dress. It was a size small. I put it on Instagram and it did not sell. Then I put it on Poshmark and sold for $34 in a couple of days. Also in this haul, I grabbed 6 things for style bundles, so those end up making me about $20 per item. So if I add all this up, I sold 29 items already from last week's haul. So within 6 days, I sold 29 items out of my 72 that I purchased, and I've grossed $1,111.50, which ends up netting me about $889. So I've already doubled my $432 that I spent on this haul just in the last 6 days. All of those sell better for me more quickly on Instagram than they do for me on Poshmark and eBay, but it's definitely worth experimenting. From these 3 thrift hauls, I purchased 162 items to sell. I've already sold 75 of those 162 items within the last 6 weeks, many of those just now being listed within the last few days. I paid roughly $1,051 for these 162 items, and so far I've already made back about $2,740 gross or $2,192 net. So I've already more than doubled my investment on these items within just 6 weeks. My most profitable thrift haul so far was actually my one from last week, so I've already made back $1,111 for my thrift haul just 6 days ago. Though how quickly something sells is not the only thing to consider when picking up things to sell online, it's definitely something to consider. Other things you need to consider is how much you're having to pay for the item, how much you think you can sell the item for, and how saturated the item is. I also like to think about the size and the style of what I'm picking up. In certain brands, different sizes and different styles do better for me, and those are just things that you have to figure out with practice. You also have to think about what platform you're wanting to sell it on. On Instagram, I like to pick up more trendy and more popular brands and styles just because that's what does better for me, and I like to have a wide variety of sizes and styles. But depending on where you sell, it's going to be a little bit different. But regardless, I think that all of these items are definitely worth picking up if you can get it for a good price. And then you also, of course, need to be picking up items that you think you can sell for more money, but it may be later on the road. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more content. I post videos like this every Friday afternoon. I absolutely love this little community that we're building, and I'm having so much fun creating long-form content for you. If you have any questions or comments about this video or about anything that I do, please comment down below and I would love to chat with you. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a part of a little bit of my closet.